Hello and welcome to a new episode of Car Mechanic Simulator 2018. In today's episode, we're going to be painting this, and then also, we're going to be fixing up this mess of a suspension. So let's lift it up all the way, because why the hell not? Now that it is lifted all the way up, let's take these ugly wheels off, as they are pretty ugly considering that they're so rusty, they're just ugly. There goes the brake caliper. There's the brake pads. Then we have the brake disc, because it's obviously not going to have any brake drum. Unless older cars have them. I don't know of any modern cars that actually use that. Now let's take off this U-bolts for the rear leaf suspension. Because this is a truck. Well, although the Ram has a coil suspension that you can get. But this is a truck, and it has a truck suspension. It's a live axle rear suspension. Up until, I believe, 2015, Ford used live axle rear suspension on the Mustangs. And what that meant was you were basically taking the suspension from a truck and putting it in a sports car. Like in the GT500, that thing did not handle the best. But now we have cars like the GT350R, which handle super well, and they have independent rear suspension. Also, independent rear suspension is also more comfortable too. Take out all these rubber bushings, because there's so many of them, because you don't want to go over something and then just die. And on the same process as we did for the other side. Now let's take off the, fuel tank stay on, I guess. Take off the drive shafts, because this works. Anyway, take the bolts off the drive shaft, there we go. Now let's take off the differential, and now let's start working on the front, after we get this transfer case and front suspension, all that stuff off. This is a mod vehicle, so you might notice that the suspension is kind of weird in the front, and that's completely fine. Here's this gearbox. This thing didn't shift that well. Oh, and yeah, it probably had some slipping issues. The whole inside of the transmission just rusted. How does the inside of a transmission rust? Well, this stuff anyway. How does it rust? Because it doesn't make sense how that would rust. Well, actually, maybe if there was like a some sort of seal that wasn't sealed properly and water was able to get in, that could possibly happen. After all, this truck was in a junkyard, even though it's only a 2013 model. So, don't know how I got this rusty. It was just 2013, and maybe it was in a crash and then it was repaired, and then they couldn't make money off of it, and then it was thrown into a junkyard. Who knows? Because here's the thing. I don't think you want a differential going through your oil pan. Just a little thing that you might, not want. Rubber bushing. 4 of them up here for the front suspension cross member. Now we can take the cross member out after we take some more suspension off. Here's this disgusting looking wheel. Same process as the other side, so we're just gonna skip. Now we can take out the front steering knuckle, and then there goes the front suspension cross member. Steering rack. And then your differential, which your differential is sort of in your oil pan somehow, and your oil filter. However that worked. And I'll start putting it back together. Here we go. There's that front axle, steering rack, and there's the cross member. Already, it's looking really good, even though we have a big, huge, rusty radiator in our face. I gotta put on the inner tie rods, and then it goes to the outer tie rods. Why not just put on all these rubber bushings right now? And so, it should be a bit better off-road, in that I'm also going to do a lift on it. Upper suspension arm. Got all that stuff. Why did my Amazon Echo think I said its name? I swear sometimes I have a feeling that my Amazon Echo is just stalking me, and Amazon is hearing everything I say and then they recommend things that I talk about. Like, for example, if I say, oh yeah, I really want a Logitech G29 racing wheel, and then I go on the internet, and then it gives me an ad for Logitech G27 racing wheel. Oh yeah, so we're gonna do the suspension after we get the rest of this done. Well, the double wishbone shock absorber, upper suspension arm, bottom suspension arm. Put that on. Now let's put on the front steering knuckle cover. Front axle knuckle cover. Doesn't exactly matter if that thing's rusty. The only thing it really does is just cover brake dust from getting it all on the suspension and stuff. That's really all it does. Brake pads, because you gotta be able to stop it. Then you gotta put the caliper on, because if you don't put the caliper on, it's not gonna do anything. And then you have to put the bearing in, or else the wheel isn't going to spin. And then obviously you gotta put an axle on it so that it can send power to it. Because I don't know how you're gonna be able to move if you don't have an axle. Put on the front drive shaft, which is no bolts required. There's a U-bolt right there. I mean U-joint. Why did I say U-bolt? Now let's do the same over here. Now let's put on a... So now all we have to do is do the rear suspension, and after we do the rear suspension, we put on the wheels, and then the front wishbone shock absorbers. Shock absorber B, because it's not a shock absorber A, or a shock absorber D, because I guess the game doesn't like the D. Wheel hub 3, really it doesn't matter that much. Solid rear drive axle. It's a solid rear suspension, it's not an independent suspension, which independent is better for some cases. Put in these small rubber bushings. And then we're just going to speed through the rear suspension because it's after we finish this side, because this side is the same as the other side. Now let's put on the leaf spring plate and the leaf spring U-bolt. Yeah, I mixed up a U-joint with U-bolt. You are a bolt. You are a joint. Now we're gonna go... Okay, I just got stuck under the, I think, exhaust system. Anyway, we're gonna put this double wishbone shock absorber together. So, let's see here. This, and this. And then let's install this onto that. Take it, and then join it together. And that's all we need to do for that. Now we just do this. Now that we've finished that, we can finally finish this truck. And then off camera, I'm going to lift it. So here's this wheel. Looks a lot better. Let's take a look at that. Yeah, that's a lot better. Although I don't really exactly like the look of these wheels because they're not from the Raptor. They're just as close as possible to the wheels on the Raptor. And these are just stock game wheels. I went with the front bumper that's on this because, so there are multiple options, but I went with this front bumper because just like the truck in real life, this has a underbody protection for the front part. Obviously you don't have skid plates, but you know, because the game hasn't put them in, the developers haven't put any skid plates in the game yet, so, or probably ever. So here's this truck. It's a lot better than before, and let's paint it because I don't like this. Paint shop, paint car. Wait. Did the hood just change color? I could have swore the hood was black. Oh wait, no. This is showing what it would look like. So I can paint it factory color. Yeah, let's just do that. That looks pretty decent. Okay, I just lifted the truck, but I don't know what it looks like in the game yet. So we're gonna go look. Ooh. Yeah, that's a lot higher. This is gonna be really good off-road. But we still need to put some stuff on this. That was weird. So we need to put some stuff, so we need to put, like, these shock absorbers. And then we also let's get over here. We need to do the transmission, and then that's pretty much it. Flywheel, clutch plate, clutch pressure plate, and then this is like the throw-up bearing, and then the gearbox. And then the transfer case. I don't think I yeah, I didn't finish the leaf spring either. Leaf spring U-bolts. And the other U-bolt. Oh, and I almost just forgot. We need to put the starter on. Because it probably won't start if you don't have a starter. I think this thing would do pretty good off-road. Let's listen to this thing rev up. Ooh. Yeah, that sounds nice. Let's see how well this thing does off-road. Yes, lifting it this time, make it completely correct. Like suspension and stuff. Oof. Alright. Let's see, I think I'm gonna need to customize the transmission to be able to get up stuff like this. But yeah, it's pretty good. Now let's see if we can go over some stuff over here, because this is this is a lot better than any other things that I've tested. Because it just does everything. Like, the Jeep Wrangler, it was good at some things, but some things it didn't do as well on. Whereas this Raptor, it will do everything. It won't do certain things that the Jeep Wrangler does as well, but it will do everything really well. So let's see. So this is my test, about 20 kilometers per hour, and we're gonna see if we can make it up this. Right there is just about 20. Nope. Of course, all of this can be fixed by simply doing this. So right now we have considerably less speed than I did have the last time I went up this. But look at that. It goes up just fine. Okay, about 20 kilometers per hour, and... Ooh, it just barely doesn't make it up. Probably just because of the weight, though. See if we can get up to 20 kilometers again. Yeah, there we go, that's pretty good. So if you go off to the side, it goes up just perfectly. That was the same way with, I think, the Jeep Grand Cherokee. Also going up something like this, yeah, it does it. So hopefully you like this episode, and goodbye.
Bye.